Father, before you sit down, that's penalty for walking in the last minute. Could I ask you to open the meeting, please? Then I'll leave you alone.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Holy God, as we open our hearts in gratitude for all of the blessings that you have showered upon us, and in a most special way for this council as they celebrate their 100th anniversary, we give you thanks, and we ask that you continue to open our eyes and our hearts, that we might see your beauty at work. Bless the food that we are to share this evening and our conversation, that we might find here nourishment for both body and spirit, as we invoke your blessings upon all of us and those who prepared this meal, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen. Thank you so much. Okay, the kitchen is opening up. We're going to start. All right. I'll need your attention if you want your number to be called, or if you want to hear your number called. The first 3 tables will go prior to the rest of the numbers. This table over here, second one, and the third one. Those are the 3 guest table, so you can go line up anytime and get your meal. Red tickets. Red tickets. After that, I'm gonna call the number. First and foremost, I'd like to introduce our clergy tonight. We have Father Jean-Paul Labrie and Father Claude Condro. With us tonight, we have members of the state staff or state officers. We have our state deputy and his wife, Mark and Lois Burgoyne. We have our state treasurer and his beautiful wife, Patricia. John Harvey. I really almost said Mrs. Pat Harvey. We have our state warden, Mr. Robert Foley. Our general agent for the insurance program, Mr. Greg White. And one of my very special friends, our district deputy who lives in Frenchville with a Madawaska address, Mr. Gil Burby. Funny thing about Madawaska and Frenchville, for a ways they don't know which is which, you know, and whatever. And I'm not going to go that's the story for another day.
Morris, don't even go there.
I'd like to have Father Claude come up, please, and say our opening prayer. Start us with an opening prayer, please. Or you can just go right there, stay right there if you want.
Let us pray. Good and gracious God, as we gather this night, we come with grateful hearts for the 100 years of the Knights of Columbus have been established here in Fort Kent. We continue to bless them, bless their members, as we remember those who have served the Knights of Columbus here in Fort Kent so faithfully and have gone before us. Bless our time together here this night, and bless our families, that indeed we may always grow deeper in faith and knowledge of God. And we ask this as we ask all things through Christ our Lord. Amen. Before I give back the mic, I want to introduce Chris Shustak. Chris Shustak is one of the canon lawyers for the diocese, which I work with on a regular basis. So he'll be with me at the presentations tomorrow here in Fort Kent and Madawaska.
Thank you very much, Father. At this time, we have a couple of guest speakers that I'd like to bring up. And one of them is a very, very special young lady that we loaned out to Madawaska for quite a few years. And we were lucky enough to be able to get her back. Town manager of the town of Fort Kent, Mrs. Susie Perry.
Before I give my speech, I would like to have everybody give a big round of applause to everyone that worked last evening and today in preparing this meal. It's an honor and privilege to be with you tonight to join in celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Fort Kent Knights of Columbus. The honor attached to addressing this important gathering with such an organization with ideals to dedicate and provide charitable services, promotion of Catholic education, and Catholic public policies. I'm sure in the last 100 years, this council has witnessed many changes as well as new developments. But throughout these years of change, the Fort Kent Knights have remained steadfast in their devotion to the ideals upon which they were initially founded. They have enriched the lives of our church and our community. The services provided from your council surpasses many other councils. Your membership has exceeded well over thousands in the last centennial. Our community is very fortunate to have such an instrumental organization. The generous volunteer hours, hosting events such as the annual Children's Christmas parties, the fundraisers hosted for the individuals or families facing illnesses or disasters, bingo on Monday evenings, and the Sunday community breakfast, to name a few. Having the opportunity to rent or use of hall for weddings or as an emergency shelter, the annual blood drives, partnerships with other local organizations, and so much more is absolutely an asset for Fort Kent. I believe you have all gathered here tonight to rededicate yourselves to the ideals and mission of the Knights of Columbus. Let us pay tribute to the Council's ideals tonight as they prepare to continue implementation for 100 and more years to come. You should all be so proud of yourselves. Congratulations to 100 years. At this time, I'd like to ask Warren Harvey to come up. On behalf of the town of Fort Kent, I would like to have Warren accept a proclamation from the town of Fort Kent. And the proclamation states, whereas Knights of Columbus Council 1934 has served the residents of the town of Fort Kent for 100 years, enacted on February 2nd, 1919. And whereas Knights of Columbus Council 1934 are a Catholic gentlemen's fraternal benefit society, inspired and committed to promote civic duty and charitable activities in their communities. Whereas Knights of Columbus Council 1934 represents the parishes of St. John, Vianney Parish, and whereas Knights of Columbus Council 1934 provides programs of service and fundraising to support civic causes and aid to those with hardships, and whereas Knights of Columbus Council 1934 provides social fellowship and strengthens the ties between families and friends by supporting members in adversities, and whereas the history of Knights of Columbus involvement in community life is a record of outstanding benevolent achievement. Whereas the Knights of Columbus is celebrating its 100th anniversary, now therefore be it proclaimed that we, Town of Fort Kent, on this day of September 2019, do hereby congratulate the Knights of Columbus Council 1934 on their 100 years of dedicated service to the Town of Fort Kent residents and thank them for their unwavering commitment to the community.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Susie, so very much for the proclamation and the very nice presentation. I have one more guest speaker to introduce our state deputy for the Surnite, actually, Mark Burgoyne.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Keep it up, close.
You can't hear me?
They won't back there. They won't back there.
Can you all hear me back there? No? Oh, how's that? So first of all, I want to thank the council very much for inviting myself and my wife to this momentous occasion. Not every council will hit 100 years, at least in our time frame. And so I have a letter from the Supreme Knight of the Knights of Columbus that I would like to read, along with a letter from myself. So first of all, from the Supreme Knight, it says, to the officers, members, and families of Fort Kent Council 1934, it is with a great sense of gratitude that I write on behalf of the Supreme Officers and the members of the Board of Directors to extend greetings and best wishes to Fort Kent Council 1934 as you celebrate your 100th anniversary. When Father Michael J. McGivney founded the Knights of Columbus in 1882, his hope was that Catholic laymen coming together in a common cause would strengthen the Church, promote and protect Catholic family life, and offer assistance to the less fortunate. Through such actions, not only would the direct recipients of our charity benefit, but also the order itself would grow stronger. Your council and the thousands of others throughout North America, in Europe, and Asia all bear witness to the timelessness of Father McGivney's vision. His vision is our mission, and it is needed now more than ever. On this very important anniversary, I encourage each of you to rededicate yourselves and your families to the teachings of Jesus Christ and His Holy Catholic Church. May you always exemplify the Order's principles of charity, unity, fraternity, and patriotism, held so dear by the Knights who chartered your council 100 years ago, and sustained it ever since. Now the future is in your hands. Be assured of my prayers for the continued growth and success of your council as you put your faith into action. May Our Lady of Guadalupe and the venerable servant of God, Father Michael J. McGivney, guide and bring success to all your endeavors. With best wishes and regards, I am fraternally Carl A. Anderson, Supreme Knight. Now for the second letter. Dear officers, members, and families, on behalf of the state officers, district deputies, district wardens, state staff, and past state deputies, the Maine State Council is pleased to extend our congratulations to the Fort Kent Council 1934 on the remarkable achievement of attaining 100 years of continued service. You should all be extremely proud of this momentous occasion of service to not only the Diocese of Portland, but also the people of St. John Valley and Aroostook County. Your history of fine Catholic gentlemen has left a legacy for all knights in Maine to follow. Your devotion to the principles of our founder, venerable servant of God, Father Michael J. McGivney, has made the lives of many of your neighbors better. The countless lives you have touched and the souls you have saved are a fitting testament to the quality of the brother knights in Fort Kent. Our vision is to build the domestic church in collaboration with the Diocese of Portland by evangelizing and proclaiming our faith through the works of charity, unity, and fraternity. Our mission is to strengthen our parish by recruiting, engaging, and retaining brother knights and their families through our faith and action programs in the areas of faith, community, family, and life. Fort Kent Council 1934 has upheld our vision and mission all these years, and for that, the Maine State Council Knights of Columbus are forever grateful. Vivat Jesu, Mark Burgoyne, State Deputy. So at this time, I'd like to have Warren come up, and of course we'll have Morris here, and we'll present this certificate, which currently says, anniversary certificate presented to the members of Fort Kent Council 1934, in grateful recognition of 100 years of service to our order, principles of charity, unity, fraternity, and patriotism on behalf of the Holy Mother Church, our country, and our fellowmen. Carl A. Anderson, February 2nd, 2019.
Perfect. There you go, and these letters go with you. Okay. And thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, now following up on Susie's lead, I am going to request that somebody knock on the door of the kitchen and have the kitchen staff, maybe, yeah, thank you, Lisa. Have them all come out. We're going to turn the camera towards them to make sure that they are recognized also. I know that Peter and I were both here yesterday, and they were both here this morning at 6 o'clock, and we reap the reward of their labor. And whenever they meal for us or create a meal for us, we cannot go wrong, whether it's this or anything else. We're lucky and fortunate to have them at least for 2 or 3 meals a year. Thank you so much, Peter and Diane. You guys are very special. As was stated by our state deputy, Fort Kent Council began in 1919 a scant 37 years after the order received their charter from the city of Hartford, Connecticut. 37 years after the charter was issued to the Knights of Columbus, to Father Michael J. McGivney, the charter members of the Fort Kent Council applied and received the charter from the Knights at that time. There are, on the board on my right in the back, all the charter members are there, okay? But I do have a list of all the past Grand Knights, okay? Starting with and the first one, Charter Grand Knight, Mr. Arthur Netto. Charter Deputy Grand Knight, Mr. Vianney Sear. Followed by Alexander Doucette, Dr. Vianney Sear, Dr. Livet Pelletier, Alfred Berry, Albert Halloran, Livet Pelletier, twice, Romeo Thibodeau, Fitzim Karen, Dr. Léonce Albert, Alfred Martin, Bertrand Daigle, Richard Stewart, Emile Dino, Albert Sayre, Dennis Logier, Eugene Michaud, Edmund Charette, Dr. Joseph Barisi, Lawrence Roy, Carol Bouchard, Norman D. Mark Chassis is here, but not here because of health. Louis St. Jean. Mark Michaud, would you please stand? I know you're here. Mark Michaud, Pastor right now. Thank you, Mark. Maureen Daigle was here, but didn't stay. Roger Harvey, 2 terms. Leroy Marquis, Ronnie D. Milton Pelletier, I know you're here. Thank you, Milton. Milton didn't get enough for one time, he had to do it twice. Fitzim Pelletier, Clinton Rio, Leo Jambon, Cedric Osgood, Dave Taylor, Frank Trelbear is here. Thank you, Frank. Patrick Lord, Peter Saucier in the kitchen. After Peter was myself for 2 years. And after myself was my uncle Gilman Pelletier. Gilman and Wayne cannot stand, unfortunately. Okay. Hi, Gilman. After Gilman was Dale Bazin. Dale didn't only stay or become a pastor in 90. He also went all the way to state deputy. The first and the only so far state deputy from Fort Kent. Chris Losey took over after Dale. Richard Stoliger, you're here. There he is. One thing you have to notice about Richard, he's always going to smile. No matter what happens, he smiles. Perfect. Mr. Roger Harvey again. Mr. Ron Jandro, here with his bride. Thank you, Ronnie. Mr. Charles Perrault, sitting there, looking sharp as ever. Okay. And I cannot call him Pastor Grand Knight because he is still active as Grand Knight. But over the years, we've had many dedicated and successful officers, Grand Knights, who have stepped up to grow this council. The goal and the works of the order, and even took some officers more than once. One guy has been Grand Knight for one consecutive term that keeps flowing into the other. I know he's a past Grand Knight wannabe, but it hasn't happened yet. During his time, we have modernized our heating system. We have updated our lighting to LEDs, as you can see. We have renovated our restrooms to complete handicap friendly. Updated our kitchen, purchased a total aspect of round tables, resurfaced our front yard, and among other things, besides having our regular activities and regular meetings and all this stuff. Okay? We did all this because of his leadership and his foresight, without having to borrow one red cent. Now that says a lot. There are projects that are ongoing. Our annual calendar project as a fundraiser. Our 50-50 project, which is a fundraiser. Our successful bingo, which is also a fundraiser. We have Bill Back Tickets, which is our charity account that's implemented during our bingos. Breakfast during the winter months. Thank you to our new chairman, Mr. Benson Willett, sitting back here with his future, of course, fiancée. Thank you, Benson. The first breakfast is scheduled for the second Sunday of October. Anybody wants to know? We have other activities that we schedule. We have a Christmas party. We have a Christmas party for the children, which is completely free for all the children in the community. Receive all kinds of gifts. I remember when I was Grand Knight way back when, and I'm sure it's the same thing today, that I had mothers come to me and with tears in their eyes and on their cheeks saying that if it wouldn't be for the Knights of Columbus, their kids would have no toys under the tree because they could not afford them. We have a party for adults. We have a picnic in the summer for our members and our guests, which is also totally free. And many, many more functions that we cannot mention here tonight. We'll be here till way past. The band wants to start playing pretty soon, so they're getting itchy with their fingers there. I have a small presentation to make to our current Grand Knight. Or maybe you want to call himself acting Grand Knight, whichever he wants to call himself. This has been a presentation in the making, and I'd like to do that right now. Mr. Harvey, you always wanted one. When you saw me with mine, you were jealous. So now you have one of your own. I hope it's the right size. In appreciation from the Fort Kent Council, all the officers and members for your dedication and devotion to the past 10 years. This is a small gratitude for you, a small gift that hopefully you wear in good health for a good long time. There's another presentation I wanted to make here, and unfortunately this young man is not here. I'm sorry. I think I swallowed a mosquito. There's only one in the building and it came to me. Anyway, this young man joined the Knights at 28 years old. Thank you, Brady. 28 years old in 1957. 1959, at the age of 30, he became a 4th degree Sir Knight. Over the years, he has held every office except Grand Knight. In the early 1960s, a tragic event occurred in this council that threatened the very existence of a council in Fort Kent. This young man's dedication and commitment was so great, he actually went door to door, visit members that were on the fence whether they should stay or not stay as members of this council. As we see today, he was successful in his endeavors and kept the council going. 1969, the membership had grown so much that we didn't have any facility in the area to hold our functions. So we got together with the officers, made a proposal, put some blueprints on the table, and raised some funds, and the fruits of his labor are all around us tonight. This is the building that was put up. Okay? 1978, you also saw that there was something missing in our council. We had third degree, fourth degree, but we did not have a ladies' auxiliary. There was a fledgling group of ladies that were starting out on the East Coast, and he brought it up to our council, got it approved, sponsored it, spearheaded it, and we opened our Columbiate Council that year because of his work. And the Columbiates are a super asset to any Knights of Columbus Council. This is a challenge to our state officers. There are only 2 Columbiate councils in the state of Maine. That is a tragedy on your part, because we would not know where we would be without ours. And I believe neither would Van Buren. There are 300 members in the state of Maine, and they're divided evenly between our 2 councils. Over the years, this gentleman here has been corporation president, building association president, whatever you want to say or call him. And I know that on a daily basis he would come check the building to make sure everything was okay. All right, the toilets would not be plugged and whatever, and any little thing that people don't realize or take for granted. He would come and check, just take a walk around. His expense, never asked for anything, never asked for any recognition. I'm sure if he'd be here tonight, he might not be happy with me for doing this, but it's been something that I've been thinking about for many, many years. We cannot overlook people like this. He was so dedicated that I'm going to spill the beans right now. So dedicated that he even nurtured a future state deputy. At this point, Dale, I'd like you to come up and accept a nice token of our appreciation for your father. Mr. Conrad Pitt was in, and hopefully he can wear his health for many years to come.
He doesn't want to wear it, I will.
If anybody sees Dale around town wearing that jacket, just call him Pitt. Or Spit. Over the years, we have had, I mentioned all our past Grand Knights. We've had many chaplains also. The first chaplain of this council was Father Arthur Decary. Father Raoul Margot, Father Jessup Norman, of Amy Gregoire, Father Eldry Pallardi, Father Anthony Fortier, Father Abel Hebert. All right. Father Lionel McKeon, Father Emily Prue, Father Roger Lebrec, Father Roger Prue, Father Roger Goldup. There was a sale on Rogers there for a while. Father Roland Marcotte, Father Claude Albert, Father Morris Lemlin, Father Norman Richard, Father Michael Doucette, Father Robert Bouchard, Father George Pelletier, Father James Nettle, Father Bill Barber, Father Richard Malo, Father Claude Jandro, Father Philip Tracy, and Father Claude Jandro came back. I'll keep it civil. Father James Netto, and today, Father Jean-Paul Labrie. I'm jumping around in my presentation here from one to the other. All right. I have about 5 minutes to do all of this. So, I've been accused of talking fast before, but I hope you can keep up with me. As it was stated earlier, Knights of Columbus was started in New Haven, Connecticut by Father Michael J. McGivney, son of an Irish immigrant, in 1882. Founders Day is in March of 1882. The reason for the Knights of Columbus, why did Father McGivney take up this extra cross that he already had? He was already associate pastor of St. Mary's Church with a whole lot of Irish Catholics, big families. He must have been busy as a whatever. But the average age of a Catholic Irish immigrant at that time in that area, New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut, was 42 years old. 42 years old, a young man would pass away and leave no income for the family and a bunch of kids. Father McGivney himself, before being ordained, lost his father about that age. His father was about that age. And he left the seminary in Baltimore to come back home to Waterbury, Connecticut, where he was born and raised, to help his mother raise his siblings. The Bishop of Hartford, Connecticut, saw this as a tragedy and called him in and said, "You have to finish and be ordained as a priest. You have a calling that cannot be ignored." So they made arrangements and they sent him up to Montreal, and he was ordained there and became associate pastor, like I said, and in 1882, civil organizations and groups were popping up like dandelions all over the place. But he never found one that had Catholic values to mind. So he got a bunch of guys together, started a proposal. One man with one idea started a proposal in the basement of St. Mary's Church and got a bunch together. And at first, what would happen if one of their group would pass away prematurely, they would put whatever they could in a hat and give it to the widow. That didn't take long, that the word spread, membership blossomed, and it became undoable anymore. That was big enough. But they didn't use mine, they only used a little funny hat. Anyways, Father McGivney and his group formed this company called Knights of Columbus Insurance to work and help the widows and families of fallen brother knights. At the time when that started, the membership of Knights of Columbus started to explode from, of course, New Haven, Connecticut, to Waterbury, Connecticut, to the rest of the city, the rest of the state, into New York, into Massachusetts, into New Jersey, and into Quebec. Now, you know, there are a lot of Catholics in Canada, and they could not be left out, so they had to come and open their own council. And the Canadian councils are very, very active and very dedicated through the Knights of Columbus. As the order started growing, we spread to every state, every province in Canada, into Mexico, today into 15 different countries, including Ukraine, Latvia, Lithuania, South Korea, and the last country, Poland, and the last country to come on board is France. Besides every country pretty much in the Western Hemisphere, Puerto Rico, Philippines, again Mexico, and all those other areas. The dedication and the mission of Knights of Columbus, especially with Catholic families, is second to none. There is nothing else on earth like it. We are here for one reason, and one reason only: support our clergy, and in time, in the same breath, support our families. It all comes together, one big wheel. Okay? We have, over the years, started the USO. We've all seen Bob Hope and the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. During World War I, the Catholic Knights were in Europe before the Americans were. So they started what they called the KC Huts. And their motto was, that was in Canada and that was in Europe. And their motto was, everybody welcome, everything free. Troops in Europe were fighting the war in trenches, and in trenches there's water. And when there's water, there's mud. And these guys were in dire straits. So they come to these KC huts, they'd have warm food, warm beds, laundry facilities, and pencils and paper, and they could rest for a few days and write letters back home saying, we're still here, or I'm still here. World War II came around, the Knights decided to support the USO instead of having two different entities doing the same thing. And that's grown and grown. In 1978, no. 1939, in the state of New York, the Columbian councils were started. Today there are 13,000 Columbians in the United States, mostly on the East Coast. And you already know what the 14th ones. 1958 was a banner year for us. 1958. Luke E. Hart, a Supreme Knight, petitioned Congress, had it passed, and had it two words to our Pledge of Allegiance. Two little words. 1958 was when President Dwight David Eisenhower signed it into law. The words, under God. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Didn't know Knights of Columbus did that, did you? The Knights of Columbus has, since 1999, had an ultrasound initiative. When they first started, their goal was 500 machines for family care centers. Planned Parenthood has ultrasounds, but they use them only for one purpose: to guide the doctor in the performance of an abortion. Knights of Columbus are the right hand of the church. We don't believe in abortion. We don't believe in euthanasia. Simple. black and white, there's no gray. That's it. 1978, Manassas, Virginia. We installed our 1,000th machine. 7 o'clock in the morning, following morning, a little lady went in, had an ultrasound done, came out with a picture of her fetus, and stated, I am having my baby. And just, Mark, last week before, in Augusta? Thursday. This past Thursday, we've donated or added a 6th ultrasound machine in the state of Maine, in a clinic in Augusta, Maine. Our 6th one. The 2nd one in 2 years. No other state deputy has had that honor so far, and right now they're working on. By the time he's done, they probably have the 3rd one. Okay? We have initiatives for our veterans. One very important one is Warriors to Lords. Every year we support a pilgrimage for all our warriors to go to Lourdes, France, to reflect and pray. Retired, disabled veterans and active veterans, retired veterans of any country, no matter where they come from. They want to go to Lourdes, they're invited. Supported and sponsored by Nancy Columbus. We started a Coats for Kids program 5-6 years ago. We donated over tens of thousands, 100,000 of coats for our kids, brand new coats, right from the factory, in the bag. Not hand-me-down, not second-hand, brand new. We partnered with Gary Sinise. Gary Sinise, who's that? Anybody see Forrest Gump? Yep. Lieutenant Dan? That's Gary Sinise. He started the Gary Sinise Foundation for one reason: to build handicap accessible homes for our paraplegic veterans that come back with no arms and no legs and whatever. Those homes are built from the ground up, the foundation up, totally, completely handicap accessible for these veterans. Nancy Columbus partnered with them, and we're doing that annually. A few years ago, Nancy Columbus started the wheelchair initiative. Too many people all over the world in war-torn countries will be plowing their fields and step on a landmine, lose half a leg or part of, or most of a leg. And then when they're disabled, they can't move around. No mobility means starving. So Nancy Columbus started a wheelchair initiative, and we were donating wheelchairs, and we still are. If you remember, I'll forget her name, so I'll bring it up later. 9/11, another date that will live in the history of our country. September 11, 2001. I was home with my new general agent, being trained for my new occupation, and we turned on TV onto the news, and just in time to watch the second plane crash into the tower number 2. That happened on a Monday. On Tuesday, the Knights of Columbus Board of Supreme Directors met, and on Friday of that same week, agents all over New York were delivering $3,000 checks to all the widows of all the firefighters, police officers, and EMTs that had lost their lives that day. $3,000 was not a loan. It was just a stipend to help them get over the hump until the state or the city would declare or issue a death certificate so they could collect from their own insurances. After that was done and the cleanup started, Knights of Columbus, along with the Salvation Army, set up tents and tables with water and snacks for all the volunteers and all the people who were working to help find any piece, all by hand with 5-gallon buckets, any piece of evidence of anybody, watches, rings, teeth, dentures, whatever, to be able to identify the people that were in those buildings. The Knights donated water and snacks, along with the Salvation Army, totally free for as long as they were needed. And I cannot quit or stop, but I'm going to stop pretty soon. I'm closing my book. Don't let everybody jump up and down at the same time. But the biggest benefit that we have, okay, with Knights of Columbus, I have to say, is standing right in front of you. I am a 18-year Knights of Columbus field agent for our insurance program. Our insurance program is second to none. Always top rated, always with the utmost in ethical business practices. We, in 2001, we had $41 billion in written business on the books. 41. We have surpassed 110 and still going strong. The harder the economy gets, the better it is for us, because people know that it's a safe harbor and a safe place to invest and to get insurance. You will never lose a penny with Knights of Columbus. We have $41 billion in cash assets. Think about that. We are a non-profit, we're a Catholic-owned and membership-owned. No stockholders to answer to, just our members and our members' families. Did I do good, Greg? On this note, very special person that's here tonight, in my book and in my heart, because he's been here for a while and he left and came back. I'm going to invite my dear friend to come say our closing prayer. Follow the reading.
If you would recite with me.
Closer.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. And may the blessings of Almighty God come upon all of us who are here this evening, and keep all of us under His protection, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you very much, Father. May God bless our clergy. May God bless you. May God bless the Knights of Columbus. And may God bless America. Thank you.